Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Heavy minerals mining company Tronox recently opened its new 3.3 billion Fairbreeze mine in KwaZulu-Natal. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Hi Martin.
Hi Sashnee.
What product can we expect from the new Fairbreeze mine, and is it destined for local or international exports?
Yeah, no, look, it's very interesting the way they've brought this. Tronox has brought this mine onto the market, Fairbreeze. It's for titanium dioxide is the main product that comes out of there. And interestingly, they're vertically integrated, which really helps them at this point in time. That means that the product that is mined in KwaZulu-Natal goes into their international operations without being sold on the open market, which means that they don't have to buy the product on the open market. They are producing the product for themselves to an extent of 60 to 70%. And during a downturn like we're having now in the prices, you know, they could have found themselves in problem street. But with this internalization that they've got, they were actually able to keep some 200 employees in the employment of the company, even though mining wasn't taking place. So you had the Hillendale mine closing, and it's now rehabilitated. I must say they've rehabilitated very well. It just looks like a normal sugarcane field, and it's, you know, Mondi property, so it goes back to Mondi. And the way they've done it there is very interesting, because you see that it looks like they're using a lot of water in a drought, you know, and the farmers must say, hey, you know, what's going on, because they've got these hydraulic monitor guns. And you don't normally expect that when you go along to a mine that is involved with heavy mineral sands. You know, you think of Richards Bay Minerals and the dredges and the ponds. But in actual fact, they get a net gain of water, because by the time it gets to the dam, they recover so much water that by the time it gets to the residue dam and there's some rain, they actually end up, you know, with a net gain of water. So it's been quite successful from a water point of view, which I think is very critical in that area at the moment. And the attitude of the investors, Tronox, listed on the New York Stock Exchange, was really appreciated by the Premier of the KwaZulu-Natal province, you know, Senzo Nkunu. And, you know, he heaped praise on them because, you know, they've invested during the down cycle, which most people don't want to do. They don't want to risk that. But of course, they also part of a bigger group. They mine at Namakwa Sands on the west coast as well. And they've got smelters at Empangeni, and then they've got these pigment plants in United States, Holland, and Australia. Because 45% is owned by our South African Exoro. You know, Exoro used to do this all on their own. And then they decided that they needed a big, strong partner. And Tronox bought control. And Exoro, which is listed on our Johannesburg Stock Exchange, is controlled by previously disadvantaged South Africans. So it's a very interesting story. And it's interesting to see how the rand weakness helps. You know, the calculation that was circulating there, that last year, that weak rand gave them a dividend. Well, you could call it a dividend, a bonus, a benefit of $168 million. So you can see that, you know, if you've got a vertically integrated situation, you've got you operate in a country where the currency is weak and you're selling in a strong currency, the benefits are huge.
Can you briefly outline the idea behind the building of the mine?
Yes, you know, you have an operation in KwaZulu-Natal that is being depleted, Hillendale. So you then come up with a replacement. That replacement is Fairbreeze. That is now realized. You know, the operation is underway. People all went to witness it. It produced its first heavy minerals in December. So it's been going on. This was the official opening. The product goes then to Empangeni for smelting. You know, the concentrate goes to Empangeni for smelting, and then on to these international pigment plants. Now, this gives the whiteness to color of paint, of plastics. So it's architecturally used, it's automotively used, and it is a product that depends a lot on growth in the world. So you want cars sold, you want new buildings going up, and that's when the demand pulls. That's not quite happening at the moment, but still they're able to give a good account of their stewardship because of these other factors and the other way that they do things, internalization, that vertical integration, the fact that their costs are really all in South Africa, and their sales are in a hard currency, makes a big difference for them.
Tronox is also considering an additional 1 billion rand investment. What is this for?
Yeah, their chairperson and CEO, Tom Casey, fantastic guy, really. He's really done what should be done. And he was there saying, look, we are ready to invest another 1.5 billion rand in a beneficiation idea. We're not going to spell it out now, but we do need water. So he was sitting next to the Premier saying, look, we've got to make sure we've got water. And it's a pity that this is an issue in northern KwaZulu-Natal, because we know that the Umkamas has got a lot of water. Now, we know that project was in place for a decade or more. A pipeline, supposed to be a dam up in the north. Now, why didn't KwaZulu-Natal see that this was done? What is wrong? What is wrong with these administrations that when the plans are in place, they don't even look for them, it seems? And you could have water there, they cry out for jobs. I mean, the cry for jobs was discernible. It was great because they had all the workers there, and they had a list of speakers. Not on the list were some of the worker representatives, and they gave the guy a chance to speak. So he said, look, you've forced me to speak impromptu, so don't expect too much politeness. We're disappointed because during the construction there are a lot of jobs, but during the operation there are fewer jobs. And he looked around, he said, I can see some jobs here, you should give. So there is a huge demand for jobs. Now, why doesn't the province, why don't the municipalities, why don't they facilitate that? They need to be shaken up because they are the ones that are possibly killing the growth. And we need that economic growth now, because we don't just need employment, we need mass employment. And the way we killing the growth is really, I think we need a truth commission again. People are to blame for this. They are being paid with taxpayers' money, ratepayers' money, and they're not doing what's there. The plans are there. All they've got to do is improve them and invite the tenders and let the thing go. They haven't done so.
What have been the developments at the mine so far?
Well, the developments are good because they do it in 2 phases. So we see that the first phase is up. That's the first 2.6 billion rands worth of mine you got there, and it really looks new and fresh, and everything's going well. And then they will go into a second phase where it takes the total up to 3.3 billion, maybe even a little bit beyond that. And it's a 12-year outlook. But I'm sure they're going to squeeze more out of it. These people always squeeze like 15 years out of it. And by that stage, they're already looking close by. They've got another site where they're exploring, which will be much bigger. And they decided to do Fairbreeze first. But they've taken 25 years to do it. And what upsets me as well is that when the Department of Mineral Resources, reported there, I got the impression that this was only allowed to go ahead because the old order mining rights were there. So there was not an issue of converting these to new order mining rights. But are they saying that they're actually retarding everything, when we need development? Is this what's happening? If you haven't got an old order right, you can't get a new order right. It worried me. And the Department of Mineral Resources also tried to, gild the lily about what their minister was doing, with the mining charter, where he's created unnecessary anxiety by acting unilaterally in an area in which he's so unfamiliar. He's been parachuted into this job and he thinks he can go it alone when he hasn't got a background, in mining. I think that is upsetting for South Africa. When I go off to Botswana and neighboring countries, the ministers of mines, the one spoke at a public forum, said, I can't sleep at night because I look at those commodity prices and I think, how are you guys surviving? Can I do something for you? And what they did in Botswana is they cut the royalty. They suspended the royalties. So in other words, you suspend a tax on the revenue during this terrible time because that royalty is bad. It's a royalty is charged whether you're making a profit or not. It's just on the turnover. But that's how other ministers are dealing with the crisis. Because they're close to the operation and they're experienced. We have a minister who's inexperienced and wants to go it alone without consultation. I think, again, let's have a truth commission here, because who is damaging the economy? Who is making sure there are no jobs? It's people who go it alone because they go into areas that create such anxiety that you don't get the investment that you need. So that's a bigger picture that we're painting this morning. But it was great to see Tronox going ahead despite the hardship in the heavy metals business and the titanium dioxide business. But because of the way they've structured themselves, they're able to go through with that and keep those 250 direct jobs and 1,000 indirect jobs going. Very important from a small operation.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Sashnee.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.